My name is Dr. Max Bodmer, and I'm going to be talking to you today about who Operation Wallacea is and how you might be able to get involved in some of our expeditions in the future. I first got involved with Operation Wallacea in 2011, and the experiences that I had on expedition were completely transformative, and they led me to make the career decisions that mean that I am now working in ecology and conservation today. Okay, so first things first, who is Operation Wallacea and what is it that we are trying to achieve? We often get asked where we get our slightly unusual name from. And our name comes from the very first expedition that was run in 1995, which was in an area of Indonesia called the Wallacea region. Since 1995, we've expanded our operations into over 19 countries where we have been running large-scale ecological monitoring programs to collect data that will inform conservation policy. Throughout this time, we have discovered 72 new species to science. Now, we often talk about the fact that we've found loads of new vertebrates because they're the cute, fluffy things with backbones that people care about. But I actually think it's more impressive to think about the number of invertebrates and plants that have been discovered. And we've even discovered a new genus of tree in the cloud forests of Honduras. Now, the reason that we're discovering so many new species is not because we're doing anything particularly unusual with regards to our survey techniques. It's simply because we're going to parts of the world that are understudied, and we're the first people to be doing this kind of work in the region. As a result of all of the work that we've been doing, we have published over 640 papers and made a huge contribution to our understanding of ecology and conservation. So how does it all work? We put together groups of scientists and academics that have a particular interest in working in a specific part of the world or with a specific taxonomic group. And these academics and scientists become the project leaders. We then recruit student volunteers who provide the manpower for the large-scale monitoring data collection efforts that occur on each of the sites. So as a student volunteer, you work very closely with the project leaders who have designed this monitoring strategy for that particular group in that particular area. Students therefore have the opportunity to work with some really incredible scientific minds, and they're taking part in research that is really going to influence conservation policy in the area in which they are working. The overarching aim of all of the data that is collected by Operation Wallacea is to influence conservation management policy in the areas in which they are working. Operation Wallacea will often work very closely with local authorities in the areas that they are working in order to ensure that these really unique ecosystems get the protection that they require to ensure the continuation of that unique biodiversity. This here is a map that shows the locations of all of the research sites that will be running during the 2024 expedition season. Obviously, one of the main advantages of having long-term ecological monitoring data sets is the fact that we can track changes in biodiversity over time and start to get an idea of how ecosystems are responding to climate change and land use change. In addition to having that temporal data, the fact that we have such a wide geographical distribution of our sites means that we can start to make inferences about how different ecosystems in different parts of the world might also be responding to the threats of climate change and biodiversity loss. There are so many reasons to join an Operation Wallacea expedition, ranging from the fact that you will be going to some of the most culturally and ecologically interesting parts of the world, through to the fact that you'll make lifelong friends. Living on site is a really huge draw for a lot of students. At some of our sites, the conditions are very, very basic. If you're at a remote forest site, then you might be expecting to be sleeping between two trees on a hammock and showering in a river. However, we do have accommodation options that can suit everyone's needs. So if you're someone that doesn't feel comfortable sleeping out in the middle of the forest, then there are options for you to have more dorm-style accommodation with running water, flushing toilets, and all of those mod cons and luxuries as well. But perhaps the most important reason that students like to join Operation Wallacea expeditions is because of the positive impact it can have on your employability and your future careers. All of our research groups are staffed by experienced PhD students and high-level academics. So you are going to be networking with people who are working as ecologists and conservationists, and they will be helping you gain the skills that you would need in order to boost your CV and gain employment in the industry after you graduate. Thank you very much for listening. If you want further information, then please go to the Opwall website, which is opwall.com, or you can send us an email at expeditions@opwall.com, and your query will be forwarded to the most relevant member of staff who can then help you out. We are also on social media, so you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Once again, thank you very much for listening.